Karma Chameleon by Culture Club has to be one of the catchiest songs ever, right? I mean, it's so upbeat, it's bright, bouncy, it has an incredible harmonica performance, and the hook of the chorus is just impossible to resist singing along to. Always destined to be a smash hit, right? You might be surprised to learn then that Boy George had to fight hard to even get this song on an album. It very nearly never saw the light of day. In fact, he threatened to leave the band over it. And in the end, he grew sick of hearing the song. Plus, there's a hidden meaning to this song you might not have been aware of, all about a secret romantic relationship. It's not quite Fleetwood Mac levels of scandalous, but it is intriguing nonetheless. So let's go through the full story behind this song, and if you love music history like me, make sure to subscribe and join our pack. And if you'd like to support me even further, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon, so you can get your name listed down there alongside all of these very good smelling individuals. Link in the description. Right then, in 1983, Culture Club was riding high. In the previous year, they had released their incredibly successful debut album, Kissing to Be Clever, which featured the monumentally successful single, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? Do you really want to hurt me? Now, the band had made quite an impact on the public, not just through their music, but through their looks as well. Looks that their record label was initially wary of. Story goes that when Virgin Records UK sent Culture Club's debut single to American labels, they purposefully left out pictures of the band and instead packaged it in a plain white sleeve. While the music certainly stood for itself, there were doubts whether the band's style would marry up with the music, especially in America.
The first time people really saw us was a gig we did in Long Island for a radio station that was supporting us. And I remember when we walked out on stage, people were gasping. They were like, oh, because it was so, you know, for them it was so incongruous to what we sounded like.
Because they'd only heard you, they hadn't seen you.
Absolutely. And again, once people saw us, they just liked us.
From there, MTV latched on to their unique look, which translated well into music videos, and soon the band were a semi-household name. Combining influences from new wave, soul, rock, and blues, Culture Club achieved chart success across the globe. They became a bit of a symbol to marginalised people. The aim is to be creatively fluid, to make everything we do a little different. We want to be a bridge between white rock and black soul. I want Culture Club to represent all peoples and minorities. So, to capitalise on this momentum, they went to work on their next album in 1983, but not before a quick, well-earned holiday for Boy George. A holiday on which he wrote the lyrics to Karma Chameleon. And here I am thinking you weren't supposed to work on holiday.
I wrote it when I was in Egypt on holiday, and when I sang it to the band, they kind of laughed at me and they just said, oh, this is awful, you know, it's a country song. And I had to kind of fight to get it on the record. I think I might have even had to threaten to leave the band. This is going on the record, because I knew it was a hit.
Now, it's actually quite ironic that Boy George was so adamant about this song being a hit, because just the year before, he begged Virgin Records not to put out Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? He thought it was too slow and too hard to dance to, and no one would listen to it. He was very wrong about that, of course. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me became the band's first big hit and first UK #1, and now it's certified platinum in Canada and gold in 6 other countries. You can understand then why the band might have been wary of Boy George's judgment on these things. And indeed, they were not a fan of the song when Boy George first presented it. They thought it sounded like a country song. Guitarist Roy Hay even believed it would destroy any credibility the band had built up at that point. Still convinced he was onto a hit, Boy George teamed up with Phil Pickett, keyboardist for the group. Now, Phil was a renowned session musician before joining the band in 1982, and he would become the main co-writer of Karma Chameleon with Boy George, although all of the members are credited. Now, with Pickett working on it so closely, he soon saw Boy George's vision, and eventually was able to convince the other members of the group on its potential. So it was added to the album track list. The album was recorded in Red Bus Studios in London, the same place they recorded their debut album. The producer was Steve Levine, again the same producer as their debut album. They brought in session musician Judd Lander to play the harmonica. If you recognise that name, it's probably because he's lent his services to the likes of Paul McCartney, the Beach Boys, the Communards, and even the Spice Girls. They also brought in a man called Graham Broad to add percussion to the album, and he's worked with the likes of Roger Waters, Tina Turner, and ABC. So I guess no expense spared with these session musicians then. Now, the album came together, as did Karma Chameleon. Despite most of the band now being on board with the song, Roy Hay still remained, well, not a fan, shall we say. That opinion surely changed though when the song was released. Richard Branson famously wrote that the song reached the top of every country that had a music chart. It became 1983's top-selling single in the UK, selling just under 1 million copies, and to this date is the 38th best-selling single of all time in the UK. And while this success did become annoying for George at one point, he's now able to appreciate what it did for him. I've sort of had to fall in love again with that song because it did get very annoying at one point. Well, think about what it's done for me. It's done so many great things for me, so be nicer to it. So I'm back in love with it as a song. Now, this wouldn't be a true global mega smash hit if the song didn't attract some sort of controversy as well. Before we get on to that, a quick reminder, if you found any value in this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel as well so you can keep up with all my uploads. Cheers. So, Culture Club was sued by Jimmy Jones and Otis Blackwell for plagiarism. They wrote a song called Handyman, a big hit in 1960, which featured a section they thought Culture Club ripped off. I mean, it's sort of similar, but I don't think I would have sued for it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Now, they settled this one out of court, and Boy George said he might have heard the song before, but didn't intentionally mean to steal anything. The single, released before the album, alongside others like Church of the Poison Mind, great song, helped push Colour by Numbers to #1 in the UK, and the top 10 in several other countries. It sold 10 million copies to date. And this time around, labels were sure to promote the band's unique look just as much as the music. And this is seen in the iconic music video with Boy George in his signature getup. The video also features an incredibly diverse multicultural cast, something that would be all but impossible in 1870 Mississippi, where the video is set. But of course we know what Culture Club is all about, don't we? It's about representing all types of people and challenging those damaging norms. So, Boy George was certainly right to feel so strongly about the song, but what is it actually about? And what's the secret meaning behind it? Well, in 1985, Boy George said this: "The song is about the terrible fear of alienation that people have, the fear of standing up for one thing. It's about trying to suck up to everybody. Basically, if you aren't true, if you don't act like you feel, then you get karma justice. That's nature's way of paying you back." And if we take a look at the lyrics, we can definitely see this. "I'm a man without conviction, I'm a man who doesn't know how to sell a contradiction." This seems to speak directly to the idea of someone who lacks a strong sense of self, trying to please everyone rather than standing firm in their beliefs. And of course, the chorus of the song, he uses the chameleon as a sort of metaphor for someone who constantly changes to fit in, blending in with their surroundings, rather than being authentic. The phrase "you come and go" suggests inconsistency, a lack of commitment or integrity. You come and go. And of course, one of the most famous parts of the song, red, gold and green. Red, gold and green. Now, I've got a theory on this too. They're often colours associated with Rastafarianism, which influenced a lot of 80s UK pop culture. We already know that Culture Club was supposed to represent all people, right? Well, in Rastafarianism, the red of the flag represents struggle, gold stands for wealth or peace, and green symbolises the land or hope. All elements of their faith and history, their authentic self. Or maybe Boy George seems to be using red, gold and green as a metaphor for emotional truth, essentially saying, "I wish you were as clear and real as my dreams." It's a contrast to the chameleon who constantly changes and hides. Where the chameleon blends in, red, gold and green stand out. They're vibrant and unmistakable. Or it could just be that green rhymes with dream. Who knows? However, all of that changes when we think about the meaning in the song that was hidden for so long. Because in 1983, Boy George was having a secret romantic relationship with the band's drummer, John Moss. The relationship was hidden from the public at the time, and Boy George was using the lyrics in Karma Chameleon, and indeed other songs written around that time, as a sort of way to communicate with Moss. In 2012, he told Rolling Stone this: "Now people can understand the songs better. They were written about my relationship with John. And they were also written about being a gay man in a homophobic world. I was selling this big lie. And now knowing that, the lyrics take on a whole new meaning. I'm a man without conviction. I'm a man who doesn't know how to sell a contradiction." These lyrics are literally describing his life at the time, the difficulty of this secret relationship and not being able to be his true self. Every day is like survival. You're my lover, not my rival. The lover he's talking about here is, of course, John Moss. And that line, "You're my lover, not my rival," is describing the difficulty in having a romantic and professional relationship with someone. A secret romantic and professional relationship. It suddenly gives the song a whole new dimension. And there's another huge song that has a completely hidden meaning behind it as well, and that's Man-Eater by Hall & Oates. That's a fascinating story, actually, and you can watch it over there next.